How many times have you said yes when every part of you screamed no? How often have you sacrificed your peace, your energy, and your time just to avoid disappointing someone else? What if the fear of saying no is actually what's holding you back from the life you truly want? In a world that praises being agreeable, we forget the power of boundaries. We forget that every yes has a cost, and that cost is often our own well-being. This speech isn't just about turning people down. It's about rising up. It's about mastering the courage to say no without guilt, shame, or regret. If you're ready to reclaim your time, protect your energy, and start living with clarity and power, then stay with me. And if this message resonates with you, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. You won't want to miss what's coming next.
1. The fear behind yes. Behind every compulsive yes is a silent fear, a fear of rejection, of conflict, of not being liked. This fear often takes root early, shaped by experiences where approval felt like survival. We learn, consciously or unconsciously, that to be loved or accepted, we must comply, agree, and avoid rocking the boat. This becomes a reflex, and over time, the reflex hardens into a habit. The problem is that what once kept us safe in childhood can become a prison in adulthood. That prison is lined with the smiles of others and the quiet erosion of our own authenticity. We become emotional hostages to approval. We say yes not because we want to, but because we're afraid of what no might cost us. Every nod and agreement feels like currency we must spend to secure our place in someone's good graces. Yet each transaction costs us more than it earns because our yes comes at the expense of our time, energy, and integrity. In Stoic philosophy, Epictetus reminds us that our primary freedom lies in our own reasoned choice, our power to say yes or no according to our values. To surrender that choice out of fear is to hand over our freedom without even a fight. Stoicism teaches us to examine the root of our emotions, to ask, what am I really afraid of? Why do I need their validation more than I need my own peace? Such questions are uncomfortable because they pierce through the polite stories we tell ourselves. They force us to admit that much of our compliance has little to do with kindness or generosity and much to do with self-protection. This self-inquiry is the starting point of freedom. The Stoic does not seek to eradicate fear entirely, but to see it clearly, name it honestly, and act according to reason rather than impulse. Saying yes all the time might keep others happy, but it slowly drains your self-respect. Every false agreement is a tiny betrayal of the self. One betrayal may feel harmless, but betrayal repeated daily becomes identity erosion. We begin to see ourselves not as agents of our own lives, but as reactive fixtures in other people's plans. In such a state, even our kindness loses its purity because it is tainted with resentment, exhaustion, and quiet self-loathing. The truth is, fear doesn't go away by feeding it. It only shrinks when we confront it, by standing in our power and letting no become a complete sentence. Every time we utter a respectful but firm no, we teach our nervous system that we will survive rejection. In fact, we often discover that rejection is far less catastrophic than we imagined. This is the paradox the Stoics understood. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision to act rightly despite it. Saying no with composure is one of the purest acts of courage in everyday life.
2. Reclaiming time and energy. Time is your most precious, non-renewable resource. Every yes that isn't aligned with your values is a thief of your time. Unlike money, which can be regained, or possessions which can be replaced, time moves in only one direction. Once spent, it's gone forever. The Stoics constantly reflected on mortality, not to dwell morbidly on death, but to sharpen their awareness of life's brevity. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. That includes what you agree to. Your energy is sacred. If you give it away to everyone who asks, there's nothing left for what actually matters. Your goals, your rest, your growth. Stoicism teaches that the mind, body, and spirit are finite vessels. If we allow them to be drained by obligations that hold no meaning, we arrive at our own life too empty to engage with it fully. Saying yes without discernment is not generosity, it's a form of self-abandonment. Saying no isn't selfish, it's strategic. It's an act of self-respect, a declaration that your life is not up for grabs. Every no is a boundary drawn in defense of your deeper commitments. The Stoics valued action aligned with principle, not impulse. A well-placed no is not a rejection of others, it's a prioritization of what you have determined to be truly important. And when you live this way, your yes becomes more powerful because it is given freely, not extracted under pressure. Marcus Aurelius once said, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." That's the Stoic way, living in alignment with reason and integrity. To apply this in daily life means scrutinizing every yes and every no through the lens of rightness and truth. Is this request aligned with my values? Does it support the kind of life I wish to live? If the answer is no, then agreeing to it is not virtuous. It's deceitful, both to others and to yourself. Every time you say no to something that drains you, you're saying yes to something that fuels you. That is how you reclaim your life. Each refusal becomes a quiet vote for your well-being, your focus, and your peace. This is not about avoiding responsibility or rejecting generosity. It is about ensuring that your contributions are sustainable. A depleted person cannot serve well. The Stoics would say that guarding your energy is not merely self-care, it is a duty because your capacity to act with virtue depends on it. 3. Assertiveness without aggression. Assertiveness is not aggression. It's calm, clear confidence rooted in self-worth. Where aggression seeks to dominate, assertiveness seeks to clarify. It is the difference between shouting to win and speaking to be understood. Stoic philosophy emphasizes the discipline of assent, the practice of choosing which impressions to accept and which to reject. In communication, assertiveness is the discipline of expressing truth without the distortion of unnecessary hostility. Too often we swing between two extremes, people-pleasing or explosive defensiveness, but there's a middle path, grounded, respectful assertiveness. This middle path is a mark of maturity because it balances honesty with compassion. The Stoic strives for equilibrium, avoiding the excesses of servility and the chaos of uncontrolled temper. Assertiveness honors both your own dignity and the dignity of the person you're addressing. Saying no doesn't require anger. It requires clarity. When you're clear about your values, boundaries become easier to express. Without clarity, every request feels like a moral puzzle, and we default to saying yes just to avoid discomfort. The Stoics encourage us to decide our values in calm moments so that when challenges arise, our course is already set. That way we can deliver a no without guilt, because it is anchored in principles we have already examined. A true Stoic doesn't need to shout to be heard. They speak with intention and restraint, knowing their worth doesn't depend on how others react. This detachment from outcome is what gives Stoic communication its quiet strength. You present your truth. How it is received belongs to the other person, not to you. In this way, assertiveness becomes a practice of both courage and humility. Practice this. I appreciate the offer, but I'm not available. Simple, respectful, final. You don't owe explanations to anyone who doesn't respect your no. The more you use such phrases, the more natural they become, and the less emotional energy you waste on over-justifying yourself. In time, you will find that your assertiveness not only protects your peace, but also commands respect from those around you, because clarity, when paired with courtesy, is a rare and valuable strength.
4. Prioritizing peace. Peace is not just the absence of chaos, it's the presence of healthy boundaries. Many people confuse calmness with passivity, thinking that if they simply avoid conflict, they will find peace. But true peace isn't the result of hiding from life. It's the product of intentionally shaping it. A Stoic would say that peace is earned, not stumbled upon. It's a state you actively build by deciding what enters your mind, who enters your space, and how you respond to challenges. Without those conscious choices, you're not at peace. You're just in a temporary lull before the next storm. When you stop saying yes to everyone, you start saying yes to your own mental clarity. Your schedule opens up, your stress goes down, your focus sharpens. There is a profound liberation in no longer being at the mercy of every demand placed upon you. Modern life is noisy, filled with endless notifications, requests, and expectations. But the Stoics understood that time is your most precious resource. Every yes you give without thought is a withdrawal from your life's account, leaving less for your own priorities. Saying no is not selfish. It's self-respect in action. The Stoics valued inner peace above approval. They knew that peace doesn't come from controlling others, it comes from mastering yourself. Epictetus taught that the only things we truly control are our own thoughts and actions. Everything else, people's opinions, external events, the unfolding of fate, exists beyond our grasp. If you hinge your peace on others behaving a certain way, you've built your sanctuary on unstable ground. By contrast, when you anchor your peace in self-mastery, no one can take it from you. Let go of the guilt. You're not abandoning anyone. You're simply choosing not to abandon yourself anymore. Guilt is often a conditioned response, taught to us by those who benefited from our lack of boundaries. But guilt does not always signal wrongdoing. Sometimes it's the sign you're breaking free from unhealthy patterns. The Stoics would remind you that moral responsibility is about living according to reason and virtue, not bending to every emotional reaction from others. You are not responsible for carrying someone else's dissatisfaction just because you chose your well-being. Protecting your peace doesn't make you cold, it makes you conscious. Conscious of who you allow in your space and how much of yourself you're willing to give. This is not about shutting the world out. It's about opening your life to what truly matters. A mind at peace is not detached from reality. It is deeply connected to it, but no longer tossed around by every wind of emotion. In the end, prioritizing peace is not an escape from life's responsibilities. It's the discipline that allows you to fulfill them without losing yourself in the process.
5. The new empowered you. Every time you say no with courage, you're rewriting your story. You are dismantling the old narrative of overextension, people-pleasing, and quiet resentment. With each boundary set, you reclaim authority over your time, energy, and emotional bandwidth. In the eyes of the Stoics, this is the ultimate act of self-governance, a refusal to live as a subject to the will of others. Your life is no longer a stage where other people's priorities get top billing.
It becomes a deliberate composition authored by you. You're no longer the person who breaks under pressure or bends for approval. You're becoming someone who moves with intention, clarity, and strength. This transformation is not loud or dramatic. It's subtle, but its effects ripple through every aspect of your life. The Stoics often spoke of the sage, someone who lives according to reason and virtue, unaffected by the noise of the crowd. While perfection is not the goal, steady progress towards self-mastery is. Each decision you make from strength rather than fear shapes you into someone capable of enduring life's trials without losing your center. Saying no isn't the end of connection, it's the beginning of authenticity. Because when you stop pretending to be available for everything, the right people begin to respect you more. Those who only valued you for your compliance will fade away, and those who value you for your truth will draw closer. This is the paradox of boundaries. They do not push away the right relationships. They filter out the ones that drain and diminish you. As Marcus Aurelius would say, the nearer a man comes to a calm mind, the closer he is to strength. Real power lies in knowing you have a choice and choosing from strength, not fear. Fear will have you say yes when every fiber of your being is screaming no. Fear will have you smile when you want to speak the truth. But strength teaches you that discomfort is survivable, and authenticity is worth the momentary tension it may cause. The empowered self is not reckless. It is deeply intentional, weighing every decision against the standard of whether it aligns with your values and preserves your peace. This new you doesn't need to be liked by everyone. You only need to be true to yourself. That's where real freedom begins. Approval is a shifting target. You could spend your entire life chasing it and still come up empty-handed. But self-respect is constant. Once earned, it anchors you in even the roughest seas. The Stoics would call this living in agreement with nature, acting in harmony with your principles, unmoved by the fleeting applause or criticism of others. This is not arrogance, it's liberation. And once you taste it, you'll never go back to the life you had before.
It's time to stop living on everyone else's terms. It's time to let go of the guilt, the fear, and the pressure. Your no is a boundary. Your no is a protection. Your no is sacred. If this message speaks to you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And if you haven't yet, subscribe, because your journey to personal freedom is just beginning. Stand tall, speak clearly, and never apologize for protecting your peace.